Hello, and welcome back to Russ's Movie Corner. My name is Russ, and as you can see, I am sitting in front of my movie corner. I'm wearing my Through Faith t-shirt, have my Gospel of John movie right here, and judging by the frame around me, we're taking down another atheist. And on the chopping block is part 4 of the Emma Thorne debunk. And this is a debunk of her video, Christian School Textbooks Debunked. Now, in the last episode, I kind of talked a lot longer than I should have, but I wanted to make sure that people understood where I stand. Okay, as a Christian, she talked about some of the stuff that went on in her life. She talked about, like she studied some religious stuff, she studied some other things, blah, blah, blah. But I think one of the problems that plagues society today is this whole thing of certain religions bad, other religions good, and then there's the religion of evolution, which they want to call science. And then there's this article that she's reading, which I know it's right behind my head, basically, but the problem is that this one person named Dr. Jenna Scaramanga said that pupils who study this ACE curriculum in the UK end up, quote, misinformed and not able to weigh scientific evidence. You mean like the non-evidence that you have for evolution? And then I asked, what is a broad and balanced science curriculum in your opinion? And I'm batch recording these, and I haven't even uploaded the first one yet, so I won't have an answer for this for a while yet, but that's okay. So, if you're watching this series, okay, go down and tell me, what do you think a broad and balanced science curriculum is? I talk about it in the previous video, what I think a broad and balanced science curriculum is, okay? And I have seen where a lot of textbooks that are Christian textbooks specifically talk some evolution, okay, but it's very, very teeny tiny compared to the amount of stuff that they spend on the Bible, because the Christian wants to believe in this time-tested document that we have, okay? And when we say this is a time-tested document, what we mean by that is that this has been through more rigorous scrutiny than your stupid evolution theory has been under. And if we put evolution under the same microscope that this thing has been under, I think it would fall like a house of cards. And I hope it does. I hope somebody does that sometime. So, what we're going to do now is we're going to jump back in. I'm going to let her kind of talk a little bit about this article, and I'll pause it when necessary.
I've always thought that something that is missing, especially today, granted it's been 10 years, well, since I was in school it's been like 12 years, so maybe things are different now. I've always thought that the ability to critique sources, to identify good sources and bad sources, is something that is missing from general education. It's something you don't really learn, or at least when I was a kid, you didn't really learn until you went to university how to spot a good source from a bad source, and that is part of why people are susceptible to misinformation.
I would have to agree in a limited sense, and I would only agree with that because when I was growing up, we got 90% of our information. Like, if I was doing a research paper, okay, if I was told, because this actually has happened in my life, if I was told you're researching Mount St. Helens, okay, perfect. The first thing I'm going to do is go to an encyclopedia, okay? There was World Book encyclopedias, there were Encyclopedia Britannicas, there were all these different things, and I would go to the M's, I would pull down the M's, and I would set them down, and I would go to M-O because it would be under Mount, and then I would open them up, and I would look at the table of contents, and I would go Mount St. Helens, and I would flip it open, and then I would open it up and I would look at Mount St. Helens. Okay? Then what I would probably do, after I got done copying some information from those encyclopedias about the blast, about the effects of the volcano, about all that kind of stuff, then I would go to the Dewey Decimal System card catalog. Okay? I know most of it's online today, but I think we sorely need to go back to the Dewey Decimal System card catalog and let the kids flip manually through everything. Pull that bitch out, pull out a big old long drawer like this, and you start looking at books on Mount St. Helens, okay? And then maybe even some books on geology or volcanology or something like that, and I would look through those, and then I would go and I would get some nonfiction books on that, okay? Then I would sit down and I would, I would read through those books, and I would write down pertinent information, and then I would write my 5-paragraph essay. Okay? Now, having been a parapro in recent years, I will say, yes, the ability for kids to filter out what is and isn't bullshit is sorely lacking. I agree 110% with that. Okay? Because I got to school, my place of employment, the high school, went out to the portable, was a history class, world history class, 10th grade class. I get in there, I go in, I sit down, and the people are basically standing there. They're sitting there in their desks. Teacher comes in, and he goes, "Okay, here's the deal, folks. We're going to spend most of this first trimester," and we had just moved over to a trimester system. "We're going to spend most of this first trimester studying 5-paragraph essays." Sitting there going, this is a history class. Why aren't they studying 5-paragraph essays in English class? Why wouldn't, English take, the first, say, month of school and teach kids how to do this so that the history class could teach them the information that they need to learn to write the fucking 5-paragraph essay? Now, I was writing 5-paragraph essays in junior high. What the fuck are kids doing? Obviously not learning how to do shit. And because they're not learning how to do shit, they don't know how to make a 5-paragraph essay. They don't know how to do anything. So, everything has to stop while we teach kids how to do shit they should have learned 5 fucking grades ago. This is the problem. This is a second problem with the education system in the United States today, is that kids are just being summarily passed along without learning actual skills like note-taking, learning how to discern what's good information versus what's bad information, how to discern, how to write. They're not even being taught how to write. I mean, just go to a comments section on any friggin' American Twitter and look at the abysmal spelling and grammar that is in there, because people are not being taught how to write or how to spell. Spell check is the fucking bane of our existence. If we could get rid of smartphones tomorrow and have people go back to actual spelling, we'd be in trouble as a nation if we did that. We'd have a nation of illiterate idiots. And I hate to say that, but it's true. because they're already illiterate.
When your whole school texts are the bad source, the misinformation, you've got no frame of reference to how to spot a good source from a bad source. And again, you're susceptible to all this conspiracy thinking, especially if it links in with what you already believe. So, climate change denial is part of the big New World Order global conspiracy triangle where most people believe at least like 3 or 4, like I did. I don't know how to explain this without getting too like slippery slope. Once you believe in a couple of conspiracy theories, it's nothing to believe in all of them.
So then why aren't you a flat earther? And as I said before, climate change denial is not a conspiracy theory, it's the truth. Okay? Now, I won't deny that the climate is changing and has always changed. I mentioned this in the first video. But man-made climate change, you're saying you want me to believe that if I allow my government to spend $93 trillion, because I live in the United States. This is the Paris Climate Agreement, by the way. If I spend $93 trillion that governments around the world, which China's not paying anything, and they're one of the biggest polluters. Russia's not paying anything, and they're one of the biggest polluters. How do you think they get all those minerals out of the ground for things like your cell phone batteries? If you're watching this on a cell phone right now, you're probably going, oh, wait a minute. How do they pay for that? How do they get those out of the ground? They dig them out with machines that spew out CO2. But here's the thing. You're telling me that I'm spending $93 trillion that by the end of this century, we get a 0.1 degree reduction. No, by 2030? I can't remember the terms of the agreement. But basically it was like in like 50 years, I think it was. Something like that. Okay? Some god-awful amount down the road. We're going to lower the temperature by 0.1 degrees centigrade. 0.1 degrees C. That's minuscule. That's nothing. That's not going to do anything to stop man-made climate change. Do you think exploding car batteries are going to do anything to, make the environment better? Oh, you didn't know about that? Yeah, all these car batteries out there that they've got are now overheating and exploding, sending toxic chemicals everywhere. But trust us, we're the government. No. Man-made climate change is a hoax by the World Economic Forum to get you to think we're all going to die in 12 years if we don't do something to address it now. And I can guarantee you they'll just keep shifting the goalposts. In another 5 or 10 years, they're going to tell you it's another 12 years down the road. And in another 5 to 10 years after that, they're going to tell you it's another 10 to 12 years down the road. They've been doing it since the 40s. We're all going to die. They've been saying it. Hell, that's why we have an Earth Day. Because I remember the first fucking Earth Day in 1992. I remember standing out there trying to plant trees and going, why the fuck are we doing this? And then you hear this thing about global warming. And you're like, global what? What the fuck are they talking about? It makes no sense. So yeah, it's a total conspiracy theory.
right? Because there's already that shadow organization in place hiding some things from you. So of course they're hiding more from you. It's a really difficult thing to get across to people who haven't experienced it, so forgive me for not probably wording it very well. I'm going to share the website with you real quick for this Christian education system, the accelerated Christian education. I'm not really sure what that means. Just you learn the Bible stuff really fast?
No, it probably means that you probably learn more about the Bible younger than you normally would just going to an hour of Sunday school and maybe an hour or two of a youth group or a children's group every week. Okay? And that's probably what they mean by accelerated Christian education is that you're learning a lot more about the Bible a lot younger. So, you know, when you're 5 or 6 and you're just starting to learn this little story about Noah's Ark, God said there was going to be a flood, so, Noah built this little boat, and he's got all these little animals on it, and they're all floating around, and they're all doing this stuff, and then God said he would never destroy the world by putting a rainbow in the sky. By the time you're probably 8 or 9, you probably, under this program, have probably learned more about the Bible than your other friends in Sunday school. That's probably what they mean by accelerated Christian education.
According to what I've read, it's very hands-off and is more memorizing biblical facts than anything else, than anything very hands-on.
What's wrong with that? I don't see any problem with that. Because there's a lot of things in the Bible that you can learn that would actually serve you better than evolution ever will. And it's not saying that, oh, it's got deep philosophical stuff. No. I'm talking about actual facts in the Bible that are scientifically proven that would serve you better than evolution ever will. And also the fact that it also teaches that there's a purpose for your life. Like I said a video or two ago, it's not just go and pass on your genes to every single person you meet. It talks about marriage is between a man and a woman because that's how you procreate. That's how you're supposed to repopulate the earth. Okay?
Reaching the world for Christ, one child at a time.
Yes.
Oh, the core curriculum. Core curriculum provides students with academics. I don't even think the way...
Why are you laughing? What is that? Does that come as a surprise to you that there would be academics in a fucking Christian education system? What were you expecting? Just hand the kid a Bible and say, here, read this? It's what they used to do. But then we thought, no, there's probably a few other things that we could teach kids as well. So then they started adding those facts into textbooks. And then, like I said, in 1963, especially here in America, okay, they took all that shit out and they put in evolution, which wasn't even proven in 1963. They just put it in because the Russians beat us in the space race. And then these people started in 1970 to combat that. Because they completely took, in that 7-year period, they completely took out every single mention of God, the Bible, Jesus, prayer, everything out of schools. Completely. Thanks to Madalyn Murray O'Hair. And her stupid-ass protests. And that whole separation of church and state bullshit. This is why we shouldn't have a public education system. Because it allows people like this to say, oh, well, see, because it's publicly funded, see, I don't want my kids learning about religion, so I'm just going to throw this out. No!
Website is written very well. Would it not be the core curriculum? The core curriculum provides students with academics, skill building, reading practice, character and wisdom training, and knowledge of God and His Word. The complete package begins with reading development and progresses through high school, giving students a solid foundation for pursuing their life goals.
So what's the problem with that? I mean, I'm going to turn this on and learn what her problem is. But my question for you, the viewer, is, if you're not a Christian, what is your problem with this?
Now I want to go back to the article because I believe this is a slightly misleading description of what this education system actually grants you. So this is a...
Oh, yeah, so let's go back to the completely unbiased opinion of someone who thinks that if a person only learns through this one Christian education program, that they're misinformed about science and can't talk about scientific evidence, can't weigh scientific evidence, because that's totally unbiased, right? Let's not ask, I don't know, a person who might have a Christian science education, like Dr. Norm Jeanson at Answers in Genesis, who fucking discovered that, like, every single male Y chromosome goes back to 3 people off of Noah's Ark. Let's not talk about that. No, let's go back to the completely unbiased opinion of this woman.
Former student, going by Tanya, not her real name, completely understandable that she wouldn't want to reveal her real name, who was homeschooled with ACE between the ages of 6 and 18. That is so long. I know...
Oh, yeah, because we totally don't already educate kids between 6 and 18 in the religion of evolution, do we? We don't totally destroy kids' lives for 12 years. No. It's only if we let them have this Christian education that we're destroying lives, right? Bunch of bullshit.
For some people it works, but I feel like homeschooling is not the best thing for them.
Oh yeah, because it's totally good to just let the state have them, right? Ugh. People, if you're a Christian, do not send your kids to anything other than either a Christian school, and it can be a Catholic private school or a Christian private school, but send them to a Christian school if you can. If you can't, homeschool them. Do not give your kids to the state. They will be corrupted.
Majority of people, that is a really long time to be isolated in an education system that is...
Actually, it's not. I've known plenty of people who have been homeschooled from the time they were, in elementary school up until at least the end of middle school, maybe even through high school. Okay? You can do extracurricular activities. You can have them go and do club activities at schools. They can even do limited school attendance where they can go for like a couple hours a day, have lunch, and then go home and then do the rest of their classes online. There are ways that you can do that so that they can get socialized. But, my feeling is that this person that they're talking to in this article probably studied through this program, didn't really pay much attention to the biblical aspects of it, just studied through the program, got to a university or got to a high school somewhere, learned about the religion of evolution, and then went, oh, and didn't have an answer for it. Because not only we as parents we as Christians and parents have to not only provide an education for our kids, but we also have to show them how to defend those answers, so that they don't run into what this girl is going to have happen, which is she's going to go off on this thing and go, oh my God, this isn't working. What am I supposed to do? Okay.
It's completely false and built on conspiracy theories. I think that's awful. She described the science education she got as really poor with a lot of wrong information. She thought the theory of evolution was ridiculous, that it was a lie. She didn't believe in climate change. She said ACE promises that its qualifications will get you into university. They didn't.
Well, then I would say that probably what ended up happening was that the ACE curriculum came out, and the universities, to try and dissuade parents from using the ACE program, okay, and like sticking and then like sticking a whole bunch of standards out there, and then basically saying you have to meet these standards to get into university. And what's happening is that they're sticking a lot of evolution information in, and so the kids in the ACE program are coming out and then trying to take the entrance exams to get into university, and then go, I can't get into a university because I don't know about this evolution crap. Because, you know, it's like the problem here is, like, I didn't believe in climate change. Well, you shouldn't believe in climate change anyway. I mean, man-made climate change isn't real. We discussed this. Okay? The climate does change. I'm not disputing that. Okay? But man-made climate change is a hoax. Stop trying to push that bullshit. And again, the IPCC has 5 climate scientists out of 2,500 people. 5. Think about it. If you have an intergovernmental panel of climate change, why would you only have 5 climate scientists on it? Out of 2,500 people? 5. Not 50, not 500, not 2,500, 5. It's a complete hoax. Now, I'm glad this gal knew that the theory of evolution was ridiculous and that it is a lie. The theory of the origin of the universe and chemical evolution and abiogenesis, macroevolution, all that shit is a lie. The only thing that we can observe, is variations, adaptation. That's it. Which they call microevolution, which is stupid. Shouldn't be called microevolution. It is literally variations on a kind. Like, you look at dogs. Yeah, there's hundreds of thousands of, well, not hundreds, well, there's hundreds of breeds of dogs out there. Okay? Literally, hundreds of breeds of dogs, and there's coyotes, there's wolves, there's foxes, there's other things. So yeah, we can see those variations. That's it. So that means that this girl probably wasn't that strong of a Christian to believe, to begin with, and her parents probably didn't hammer home that here's evolution, here's how things work, this is what it is, and then it basically, like, but that's what I'm saying, is that, it's right behind my head, but it says, ACE promises that its qualifications will get you into university. They didn't, she said. That's probably because the education system in the UK probably looked at the ACE program, realized that it was going to get these Christian educated kids into colleges around the UK, and they went no. So they changed a lot of the standards so that they wouldn't meet those qualifications. And that, to me, is complete bullshit. Because that is the makings of a cult. When you don't want anyone learning anything you don't want to learn. Sound familiar there, Emma Thorne?
So she took the International Certificate of Christian Education, the ICCE, which is an ACE-specific qualification. The website says it's educationally robust.
You're not looking at the website. How do you know what the curriculum says? See, here's the thing. You only read, like, one little part of the core curriculum. You didn't read what was in a textbook, what they teach, what they learn, what they do. You don't know anything about it. But yet you're smugly sitting there going, oh, they say it's educationally robust. Yeah. And I'm sure that a lot of kids around the world have gone into a wide range of institutions of higher education. But probably what happened is that they would get into a biology class and they wouldn't pass through the Biology 101 class because they didn't know anything about the theory of evolution. And they would just dismiss it. And so they probably went and they said, okay, we're going to have to change so that this doesn't work anymore. And so they went and changed shit.
And says that graduates have gone on to a wide range of institutions of higher education.
Like I said, they probably did.
So Tanya had to spend an extra year doing a university access course to be able to actually get a degree.
And most universities in the United States, if you don't have a diploma, like if you don't graduate with a high school diploma, then you have to take what's called the Generalized Education degree, or GED program. Okay? And you have to study a whole bunch of courses, some math, some reading, some science, some writing, I think. And you take, it's a 4-part test, and you have to pass all 4 parts. If you pass all 4 parts, they give you your generalized education degree, and then you can go on to a 4-year university. Now, what I'm guessing happened was, again, they changed the standards, because, see, here's the thing. She's not showing the standards, okay? And so, what I might do is, after this video is over, I might go and research some of these things. In fact, I am going to do that. And then in the next one, I will have some photographs and some websites and some different things to show you what these things do. Okay? And then I'm going to look at what are the requirements to get into a university in the UK. I don't live in the UK, okay? I know what you have to get into a university here, okay? Because I went through it, went into a 4-year university, and then I went on to a 2-year technical college, okay? And I also studied for about a year at a 2-year college as well. And then, when I got done, I tried to go in, because here's the other thing. In the United States, we have different accreditation programs, okay? There's university accreditation, which is like the what they would call the gold standard for like accreditation, okay? But most every single 2-year and 4-year university in the United States is under that umbrella, okay? Now, that umbrella's over here. And then there's all these other small little umbrellas that govern technical colleges, that govern Christian colleges, that govern graduate studies, that govern, different things. And all of those sometimes fall under this umbrella, but other times don't. And so what ends up having to happen is that a lot of times, if somebody gets a degree somewhere, then it's not necessarily like, because I got a 2-year certification from a technical college. Okay? I had math, I had physics, I had chemistry, I had solid state devices, I had networking, I had a whole broad range of things. Okay? And so a 2-year college in the same town, basically partnered with this technical college and said, if you got a certification in 3 programs, okay, instrumentation, which was me, HVAC, or electrical programs, if you got one in those, then you could enroll in this college and you take a certain number of college credits. If you pass that, then you get an Associate of Applied Science in the chosen field that you have. So it'd be HVAC, instrumentation, or electrical. And then, from there, you could then transfer into a 4-year university, because now you have a 2-year degree, which is what I did. Okay? I went and got a 2-year degree because they would not recognize my 2-year certification. Nobody would. Okay? Not even the para. I actually had to take a parapro exam, okay, to become a parapro. It's like a state standard exam to make sure that you know the basics of math and science and history and everything. It's just a generalized exam that you take on a computer, and if you pass, you're able to get the job. But I did that, okay, and I passed with flying colors, so they hired me. And I said it would have been a lot easier if you guys had just accepted my 2-year certification. And they're like, well, but it has to be from an accredited university. I'm like, it is accredited. It's just not what you want to be accredited. And this is what I was talking about with Professor Dave in my Professor Dave Kent Hovind 5 questions for Kent Hovind that he did after he debated Kent Hovind. You want to talk about slippery slopes. This is the slipperiest slope of them all. Only this type of accreditation can be it. You see what I'm saying? You have this article over here saying, well, she didn't make it into university, so she had to go study all these things. And so, yeah, basically they had to go program her so that she could go to college. So they had to go program her in the evolution and in climate change and in other garbage so that she could be accepted into a program, because heaven forbid she actually think for her fucking self. Am I right? And see, now she thinks she knows how to think for herself, but in reality she's been programmed how to think. See, now she's talking like Emma Thorne, which is exactly what a cult does. That's what Jehovah's Witnesses do. That's what Mormons do. This is complete and utter bullshit. I mean, at one side of her mouth, she's talking about how it was so great that she got to learn all this stuff about different religions, and yet on the other side, she's like, but when it comes to education system, you can't fucking do that. You hypocrite.
What the ACE schooling gave her was a lack of faith in science, a lot of false information, and then she didn't have access to higher education and had to pursue that outside. And
yeah, and why was that? I'm betting it's because they changed the fucking standards. I'll bet if I use Wayback Machine and go back about 20 years, I'd probably find out that the ACE curriculum probably prepared kids a lot for schools. But then what happened is that the education system took a look and went, wow, we've got a whole bunch of people here who don't know anything about evolution. We need to change that. Which is a cultish behavior. And did you hear that? Let me go back here just a tiny bit here. Let me just go back.
A really long time to be isolated in an education system that is completely false and built on conspiracy theory. To university, they didn't. So she took the International Certificate of Christian Education, the ICCE, which is an ACE-specific qualification. The website says it's educationally robust and says that graduates have gone on to a wide range of institutions of higher education. So Tanya had to spend an extra year doing a university access course to be able to actually get a degree. So what the ACE schooling gave her was a lack of faith in science.
Did you hear that? A lack of faith in science. Why does she have to have faith in science? I thought science was knowledge. I thought science was a process. Shouldn't have to have faith in science, right? What do you usually have faith in? Oh, that's right, a religion. You just debunked yourself. Because she shouldn't have to have a faith if it was true. If it was an absolute fact, she wouldn't have to have faith in it, would she? She just said the quiet part out loud. There it is. Right there from her mouth. You can go, like I said, the link for this video will be in the description. You can go and listen to this for yourself. You'll know that I'm not chopping this up.
A lot of false information.
See, here's the thing. She didn't get any false information. She didn't get any false information. The thing that she didn't get was your stupid evolution religion. Okay? Now, I don't know if it gave her any chemistry or physics or what. Okay? I don't know if it gave her that stuff. Because, again, I'm not looking at the standards. Okay? And it said that she struggled through the course, but is now partway through her second master's degree. Determined these people will not destroy my life. What people? Does she mean the university people that destroyed her life by changing the standards? Or does she mean the people at ACE for not giving her a rounded education that the people like Dr. Jenna Scaramanga said needed to be a broad Christian or broad science education? Which again, no one defined what a broad education is. That's the problem with this article that she's talking about here. Okay, it's right above my head. She's not talking about, like, is there something, like, she's not defining, here's the standards, like, here's what you need to get into university, and, like, here's what, the ACE program did, and so this is what this is, and this is what this is, and so, yeah, maybe, she should have maybe dropped out and gone in, dropped out of the homeschooling thing and gone in, to higher, like grade 9 through 12 or whatever you guys go through. I don't know what your years are, but but you get what I'm saying. Okay? Because I knew a guy when I was in middle school who was being homeschooled. Okay? He was a Christian. He was being homeschooled. Okay? And he would come out and he ran cross country, he ran track, he participated in things, and he said that after 8th grade he was going to enter into high school, and he was going to go through high school. And I snuck up to him and I said, dude, you're going to have to be prepared because they are really pushing evolution right now. I don't know whatever happened to that guy because I lost track of him. Because I went to a different high school and then I transferred over to another high school. So I didn't go to high school with him. So I don't know whatever happened with that guy. Okay? I really don't. But I would hope that he kept his faith. Unlike this person who obviously, I don't know if she still is a Christian or not. The article doesn't say if she is or not still a Christian. I don't know. Maybe she was never a Christian. Maybe her parents just thought this was a good program to put her in. I have no idea.
And then she didn't have access to higher education and had to pursue that outside, and now probably has more debt thanks to that. Good news though, just to inject a little bit of positivity into it, Tanya is now doing her second master's degree. She is determined not to let the schooling system ruin her life. Love that for her.
So if you're saying that she's determined to not let the schooling system ruin her life, then that means that the schooling system was against her from the start. Again, you're saying the quiet part out loud there, Emma. Thank you for that. That yes, the schooling system is destroying kids' lives by not allowing them to study what they want. Again, cultish behavior. I don't get it. I don't understand how you could be this oblivious to this. Seriously, like it blows my mind that these people love to say, "Oh, you Christian, you're in a cult. You don't believe in evolution. You don't believe in this. You don't believe in that." Yet out of the other side of their mouth, they will and then they will say, because you guys are in a cult. You guys all say the same thing, and then they turn around, and then they're like, when it comes to like teaching evolution in schools or like having some kind of a Christian education, they're like, you can never have a Christian education. You can never do this stuff. And I'm like, I mean, there was a Whack and Atheist Wednesday right before Ken Hoven's thing. I'll do this real quick and then I'll call it an episode. But there was a Whack and Atheist Wednesday that Ken Hoven did right before his channel was taken down. It was right around Christmas time. It was right before Christmas. And he was against Aaron Ra. Okay? And Aaron Nelson is probably one of the, again, worst debaters out there. Okay? And also one of the worst debunkers. But he sat there and was like, "Oh, well, no, he was showing a video of Ken Hoven, his video number 4, and he was doing a debunk of all the supposed lies in the textbooks, and he was supposedly debunking them, even though he didn't really debunk anything. And so, like, when Ken Hoven does his introduction, he likes to talk about, in his video, he's like, I taught high school science for 15 years, and he put up this little thing that said, in Christian schools, not secular schools. And he's like, or something, or in church, not in school, or something like that. And he's like, I taught in Christian schools. Are Christians not allowed to have schools, Mr. Nelson? Are Christians not allowed to have schools or curriculum? Because according to people like her, we can't. Because they went and changed all of the standards, and now you have people like Emma Thorne here going, "Oh, see, they didn't give her a faith in evolution, and they didn't give her any kind of a way access to schools." Yeah, that's cultish behavior. Because you're basically saying, unless you believe what I believe, and you say the mantras the way that I say the mantras, you can't be a part of our cult of higher education. It's a fucking cult. And the funny thing is, it's already here. It's been here for years. Okay? Go watch Expelled and then come back and watch this again, you're going to go, oh my God, it's been around for a long freaking time. Yeah. And guess who the Pope of the Evolutionary Church is? He's an Englishman by the name of Richard Dawkins. He's the Pope of the Evolutionary Church. Okay? He's the one leading the charge against all of this stuff. And I will guarantee you that he is probably one of the ones that stood up and said, we need to change all this stuff. Because we have too many kids out there believing in God. I guarantee you. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think of the series so far. This is part 4, and as you can see, we got about, I know you can't see it because my lovely self is in the way, but it is, we are 21 minutes and 51 seconds left, and in this one, I actually let it go for a lot longer than it had before. That's because I tried to let her talk a little bit more so that I could try to get more of this out, but... And in the future, I'm going to try to let her kind of, get some stuff. But there were some things that needed to be said. Especially about that whole faith in science crap. You shouldn't have to have faith in science because faith is something that we as Christians have. Okay? And if you take the evolutionist definition of faith, here's the funniest thing. You take the evolutionist view of faith. What do they say? Faith is belief without evidence. If we take them at their definition, Emma Thorne here just admitted that she has belief in science without evidence, because there is no evidence for evolution. So, congratulations, you just played yourself. And as we say, we will see you on the next one.